I want to tell you up front that I have been a real estate agent for 9 years. I have walked through hundreds of properties, empty ones, abandoned ones, houses where people died, houses that flooded, houses that burned and were rebuilt, houses that sat on the market so long the owners gave up and walked away. I am not someone who scares easily. I am not someone who believes in things I cannot explain. I am telling you this because I need you to understand that what I am about to describe is not the kind of story I would normally tell. It is not the kind of thing I ever expected to experience, and it is not something I have been able to explain in the 14 months since it happened. The house on Fenwick Road had been on the market for 11 years. 11 years is a long time for any property to sit unsold. In 9 years of doing this job, I had never seen anything close to that. Properties sit for 6 months, maybe a year if the price is wrong or the location is difficult. 11 years means something else entirely. It means every agent who took it on eventually gave up. It means every buyer who viewed it walked away. It means the house itself had developed a reputation in our office, something we mentioned in hushed tones, half joking, the kind of property nobody really wanted to touch. The previous listing agent had retired. The owner, an elderly man who had inherited the property from his own parents and never lived in it himself, contacted our office looking for someone to take it on fresh. New photos, new listing, new approach. My manager asked if I would handle it. I said yes without hesitating. I was not superstitious. It was just a house. I drove out on a Tuesday afternoon in October. The house was about 40 minutes outside the city, the kind of distance that felt longer than it was because the roads got narrower and quieter the further you went. Fenwick Road itself was barely a road. Single lane, tree-lined on both sides, no markings. The kind of road that feels like it exists only to lead to this one place. The house sat at the very end of it, 2 stories. White painted wood that had gone gray over the years, a porch across the full front. All the windows intact, which always surprises you with an abandoned property. You expect broken glass, you expect vandalism. But the house looked almost preserved, like time had stopped rather than worn it down. I parked in the overgrown driveway, got my camera and my assessment clipboard, and went inside. The interior was exactly what I expected. Dusty, dim. Furniture left behind, a sofa, a dining table, a wooden chair in the corner of the master bedroom that someone had clearly forgotten or chosen not to take. The smell of a house that has been closed up for a very long time. Stale and cold and still. I started in the entrance hall and worked my way through systematically the way I always do. Room by room, left to right, photographing every wall, every window, every fixture and feature I would need to document for the listing. The ground floor took about 20 minutes. Living room, dining room, kitchen, a small study with empty shelves, a bathroom with an old clawfoot tub that would actually photograph beautifully. The kind of detail buyers remember. Everything was ordinary. Everything was quiet. The only sounds were my own footsteps on the wooden floors and the occasional distant sound of wind moving through the trees outside. I went upstairs. 3 bedrooms, a family bathroom, a narrow hallway connecting them with a window at the far end that looked out over the backyard, overgrown grass, a rusted garden chair on its side, the tree line about 50 meters back. I photographed everything. The bedrooms, the bathroom, the hallway, the view from the window. I checked the ceiling for damp. I tested the floorboards for softness. I made my notes. I took my photos. By the time I was done, it was late afternoon. The light coming through the windows had gone from pale yellow to the deep orange of early evening. I had been in the house for just under 2 hours. I locked up, drove back to the city, and uploaded everything to my work laptop when I got home. I want to pause here and tell you something about the way I process property photos. I go through every image before I do anything else, not for editing, just a first pass to check nothing is badly blurred or wrongly framed. It takes about 15 minutes for a full property. I go through each photo one at a time, full screen, systematically. I opened the Fenwick Road folder and started from the beginning. Entrance hall, fine. Living room left wall, fine. Living room right wall, fine. Living room fireplace, fine. Living room doorway looking back toward the hall. I stopped. In the far left edge of the frame, just at the boundary where the hallway met the shadow beyond the living room door, there was a figure. I leaned closer to the screen. It was partially cut off by the edge of the photo. You could see the right side of a person, a shoulder, part of a torso, the edge of what might have been a face turned toward the camera. Dark clothing. Standing completely still. Close enough to the doorframe that if I had been looking in that direction while I was standing in that room, I might have seen them. I sat back in my chair. My first thought was a reflection, a shadow. My own image caught in something I hadn't noticed. I went back and looked at the living room photos again. No mirrors on that wall. No glass surfaces near the doorway. Nothing that would have created that kind of reflection. My second thought was that someone had been in the house while I was there. A squatter. Someone who had found a way in and was staying there and had hidden when I arrived. That thought made my skin go cold. I kept going through the photos. Dining room, fine. Kitchen north wall, fine. Kitchen south wall toward the back door. Right side of the frame, same figure. Same dark clothing. Same posture, completely still, partially cut off. The visible portion turned toward the camera. Standing in the corner between the kitchen counter and the back wall. A corner I had walked past at least twice while I was in that room. I pushed my chair back from the desk. I sat there for a moment and told myself there was an explanation. There is always an explanation. I have been in hundreds of houses, and I know how shadows work, and I know how the mind finds patterns in things that are not really there. I kept going. The study. The bathroom with the clawfoot tub. In the bathroom photo, reflected in the mirror above the sink, the figure was behind me, standing in the bathroom doorway. Full torso visible in the reflection, face at the edge of the frame, turned toward me. Toward where I had been standing with my camera pointed at the mirror. I had been looking directly at that mirror when I took that photograph. I did not see anyone behind me. I went through every remaining photo from that house without stopping. Every single one. 41 photographs in total. The figure was in 37 of them, always at the edge of the frame, always partially cut off as if it had stepped just far enough to one side to avoid being fully visible. Always with whatever portion of the face was showing turned directly toward the camera, toward me. In the upstairs hallway photo, it was at the far end near the window, silhouetted against the evening light. In the master bedroom photo, it was in the corner behind the wooden chair. The one I had noted in my assessment. The one I had photographed specifically because I was going to recommend it be removed before viewings. In the photo I'd taken looking out the back window at the overgrown garden and the tree line, it was outside, standing in the long grass about 30 meters from the house, facing the window, facing me. I called my manager that night, told him I needed someone else to take the Fenwick Road listing. He asked why. I told him I wasn't feeling well, and I'd explain more in the morning. I didn't explain more in the morning. I transferred the file and never went back. I've thought about what I should have done differently many times since then. I should have called the police that night and told them someone might be living in the property. Maybe I should have gone back with someone else in daylight and gone through every room again properly. Maybe I should have had someone else look at the photos to confirm I wasn't losing my mind. I did none of those things, because here is the thing that stopped me, the thing I keep coming back to even now. If there was a real person in that house while I was there, a squatter, someone hiding, anyone at all, they would have had to move. Room to room, floor to floor, staying just out of my direct line of sight while I work my way through the entire property for 2 hours. That is possible. Unsettling, but possible. But in the photo of the back garden, taken from the upstairs window, the figure was outside, 30 meters from the house in the long grass. And in the very next photo I took, the master bedroom less than 40 seconds later, it was inside, standing in the corner behind the chair. I have measured that distance. From the back garden to the master bedroom is not 40 seconds if you are running. It is not 40 seconds if you know every inch of that house. The Fenwick Road house sold 8 months later. New agent, new photos. I don't know what his photos look like. I never asked. I still have my photos on an old hard drive in my desk drawer. I have not opened that folder again. So here is your verdict. What was in that house? A person? A shadow? Something I cannot explain and am not sure I want to. And if you were me, would you have gone back? Drop your verdict in the comments. I read every single one, and this is one story where I genuinely want to hear what you think. And if stories like this one hit different for you, the kind that stay with you long after they're over, then you're exactly who this channel is for. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications. Every week I bring you a new story, real situations, real people, real consequences. No filler, no fluff. Just the kind of story you can't stop thinking about. We're just getting started on the Untold verdict, and the best stories are still coming. This has been the Untold verdict. Every side of the story. You decide.